busy city, that's Cincinnati. Located along the Ohio River, it is a focal point for great activity. The many buildings, the great numbers of people, the frequent movements of trains and buses all indicate that Cincinnati is one of the nation's leaders in the business world. And in this business world, one of the most important people is the modern business girl. It is she who is seen in the buildings of our city, in the buses, on the trains. Everywhere business is transacted. The business girl has many jobs, and she is most capable in handling her work. She has a knack for dressing neatly, keeping herself fresh and attractive, even though she works hard in looking after her many responsibilities. Yes, modern business has come to depend on these young women. For business girl, let us consider this young woman, Jean Peters. About a year ago, when she was graduating from high school, she was worried about what she would do now that school was over. Well, as you can see, Jean found a job, and she has done well. But let Jean Peters tell you, in her own words, her experiences as a typical business girl.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say that I'm quite flattered in being asked to tell about my outlook as a business girl. I hope that I will be able to help you actually understand and see what my part in business is. This is a company I work for because there are over 4,500 employees and more than 4 million policyholders. And there are about 800 business girls, like myself, in the home office building. When you first think about a life insurance office, it doesn't seem very exciting. At least that's what I thought when I first saw the building. But since I've worked here, I found a business girl working at this company has many unusual advantages. One of these unusual features is the fresh linen which each of us receives each day. In this way, I have my own clean towels. In case of emergencies, there's an emergency hospital room, complete with all necessary equipment. The lounge is a feature everyone likes, for in these rooms we can relax, listen to the radio, smoke, and have a good time after lunch. I know that we are fortunate that the company realizes what such a recreation spot means to we business girls. Right outside the door to the lounge rooms is this seal embedded in the floor. For me, it means that the officials of the company consider the business girl as a human being. This is further shown by the fact that a representative of the personnel department often visits with parents of the girls who work here, especially when they are first hired. And when any employees have worked with Western and Southern for 5 years or more, the company officials personally make special presentations of Legion service pins or gold watches, diamond pins, and other special awards for advanced Legion members. After receiving such a pin or award, the employee is automatically a member of the honorary group. Legion service members receive special bonuses and other advantages. But I think I can tell you about my business experience best by showing you a typical working day. Each morning, 2 other girls and I travel to work in one car, which we park in a special employee parking lot beside the Western and Southern building. This makes it very convenient for us. Of course, many of the other girls ride the buses or trolleys. Inside, each of us has a locker for our coat and hat. To start the morning right, we generally freshen up a bit just before working time so that we'll look neat and presentable. Of course, we get a chance to compare quick notes on dates at this time, too. After the fresh powder and lipstick, we go to our regular working places, ready to start. I happen to work in the weekly premium department, which services the kind of life insurance which is sold to people on weekly payment plans. We have a large volume of work which passes through our hands each week, and during the time that I handle this work, I get a chance to do many different types of jobs, including typing, filing, checking, and so on. The job is quite important, for it is girls like myself who back up the salesmen who are out doing the selling and making collections in the field. For instance, one of our sales force makes a contact in the field to sell a new policy on a weekly premium plan. He gets all the details from the customer and then sends the forms into the home office. Then we have to get these papers properly recorded and processed so that the agent can keep the new customer pleased. Since there are a lot of agents or trustees, we keep a book concerning each one. In this way, we know what accounts he has and what we should do to help him keep the policyholder satisfied. This is the sort of thing I do during the mornings. Then at noon, when we go to lunch, we girls get on the elevator, which saves a lot of walking. We eat lunch in the company cafeteria in the same building, and the wonderful thing is that our lunches are free. We can get anything we wish, just remembering that too much eating might break the scales. After lunch, we generally rush up to the lounge rooms for some chatter, magazine reading, and to use the free telephones if we have some personal calls to make. Of course, some of the girls like to rest and snooze a little in the quiet room, while the others use the time to meet girls from other departments. This is swell because I've been able to make loads of new friends. When lunchtime is over, I go back to my desk to continue with my work during the afternoon. As I said before, this work is very important because the trustees depend on us, and so does the company, because it is our work which provides adequate records of all the transactions handled. The company needs all these records to allow it to operate as an insurance business, and the records must be posted correctly and handled as quickly as possible so that the policyholders can be served promptly. To keep the records correct, we have a system of check sheets and card files which we use along with the trustees' individual account books. All this may seem complicated to you, but really, when you learn it step by step, like I did, it's very easy, and because of the variety and responsibility, I find it very interesting. At the end of the afternoon work, I clean off my desk before leaving, ready to start work the next day. But for me, on this day, I'm not ready to go home, for this is the day for Glee Club rehearsal. I've always enjoyed singing, so when I came to Western and Southern, I joined the Glee Club. Besides the Glee Club, there are many other activities in which the girls participate after work. I only belong to the Glee Club, but perhaps sometime I'll get in on some of the other things, like bowling. Another sport which the girls like to play is basketball, and they do well. I've seen some of their games. During the spring and summer, the softball team keeps things humming. And to show how good some of these teams have been, look at the trophies they've won. Then every summer, we girls look forward to the annual home office picnic. This is all provided by the company, and we have loads of fun. There are all sorts of things to do, and plenty of good things to eat. You know, getting together like this is like being part of a big family, having fun together, knowing each other, and working together. Yes, the annual picnic is an activity I will remember always.
That's much better, girl.
And so, after Glee Club rehearsal, my day ends and I go home for dinner. About a year ago, when I was about to graduate, I used to lie in bed at night and ask myself the same questions you probably are asking yourself now. Where should I try for a job? How do I go about applying for a job? By the time I was graduating, I was deeply concerned. But fortunately, everything worked out swell. Here's how I did it. I recalled that a representative of Western and Southern had visited our school to tell us about the company. It sounded interesting, so I decided to try there. I went to the home office building in 4th and Broadway. I was a little nervous, but the representative said all you had to do was tell them you would like to apply for a job. I did this and was taken to see the woman interviewer in the personnel department. She was very nice, and I felt more at ease after I had talked with her a few minutes. The interviewer told me that the first thing for me to do was to fill out the application blank. I looked it over carefully, then sat down and filled it out. The next thing I was to do was try the aptitude analysis. This analysis helps measure your abilities so that you can be given the kind of work you can do best. She gave me the material, and I started in. One of the questionnaires concerned mathematics, another spelling. In fact, they covered most of the subjects I had in school, so all I had to do was fill in the answers. I was glad to have this analysis because I could see how it would help me get the right type of job. After the typing analysis, the interviewer came in again and told me that the analysis showed that I could handle several types of work they had. Naturally, I was pleased with this, so we went on to the physical examination, which is given all prospective employees. The exam didn't take very long, and the doctor found that I was in good condition. What was to happen next, I didn't know, but I went along with the interviewer, who took me to the personnel manager's office. Again, I felt sort of nervous, but again I was relieved, for the man was very pleasant. The next thing I knew, I was talking with the manager, telling him about the kind of work I liked best, but I would be glad to do anything I could handle. Then he started to tell me about the many different jobs that were done in the daily work at Western and Southern. There were operators of IBM machines, which do automatic tabulating, mail clerks, photostat girls, Ediphone operators, and oodles of other jobs. But he thought he knew just the job I could do well, considering my aptitude shown in the analysis. He called one of the departments which needed some new people. That was the weekly premium department, where I now work. In a jiffy, we went up to the department, and I was introduced to the department manager. The department manager told me that I was to be a clerk. But before I would be able to handle all the work myself, I would have to learn the various details. He then explained about the working hours, my pay, vacations, and holidays. He also told me about the low-cost insurance employees could take out. And then he gave me a copy of one of the booklets, which tell about the company policy, advantages for employees, and so on. One of the supervisors came over, and he introduced her to me, and asked her to take me in hand and show me the work. For the next few weeks, then, the supervisor took me through the ropes, and it wasn't long until I was able to take care of the work myself. Now that I have been here about a year, I really enjoy the work. I've made a lot of new friends, and best of all, my work has a lot of variety, allowing me to type sometimes, to filing on other occasions, and so on. Naturally, the paycheck is always nice to receive, too. The department manager comes around and gives me my check, which I can cash at a nearby bank during lunchtime. I'm rather proud of my checks, too, because they're much better than those some of my classmates are getting at other companies. Of course, being a business girl has its hazards if you don't start working at the right place. Fortunately for me, I feel that I did come to the right place, for our company treats us as human beings. The social and recreational opportunities which are provided for us certainly make our workday pleasant and interesting. I do hope what I have told you will help you. And if you're going to be a business girl, perhaps we'll be seeing you soon at Western and Southern.